and
Before we do that, and I'm going to break this shit down because I said I wasn't going to be here long. But I really, it's 11:12 a.m. I got a few things on my list of things to do. But in some things, I'm going to take some time and work on with you, Ben. Why do you say the word autopsy like that? Why do you say autopsy? I'm going to ask you first before I try to correct you so that I can understand where you're coming from. That way we can correct it.
before we do that,
No, we're going to do that.
Who's going to assist me today as we talk about the results of the autopsy?
Why do you say it
Before we
like
do that,
Ben, can you stop doing this shit? Every time you come out here, you sound like the old Magic Johnson. Can you please cut this shit out? It's not necessary, Ben. Everybody around you is more articulate. Oh, shit, Ben. Ben, you making me work harder than I want to. We don't go back to school until next Wednesday. And I so happen to have planned a vacation the first weekend. Hey, because I'm smart like that. And it just happens to be my birthday. So, Ben, you making me go back to work a little bit earlier than I had planned.
talk about the results of the autopsy.
No, Ben, no. Ben, no, I feel like I have permission to do this. So I'm going to do this. Why do you say autopsy? It's just an autopsy. 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 It's not an autopsy. Okay? I'm gonna let you go. I know you don't like it, but you're gonna have to fix it. Cause nigga, you crossed my desk. I didn't cross yours.
Before we do that, I want to also talk about an update as we continue to probe and find out all the reasons why this tragedy happened leading up before the killing and the aftermath of the killing. We talked about how the family wanted a thorough investigation as to why.
Ben, I did not intend to have to do this today, but since this is the breakdown, I owe it to the Dolton Trustees, and I owe it to both the Kiana Belcher's bellies to do this, because I have given it to everybody. And this is not a no judgment zone, is it, Omega? This is a place where we say what we see, and we say what we hear, and there is no L in the word thorough. Ben, you make too much money. You got on a satin tie. Ben, that suit is amazing. You have it dry cleaned every time you wear it to make sure it still looks new. You take good care of your shit. You get the best of the skincare and the barbers but you can't talk for shit. Man, Ben, Crump, you gotta do better. You can't say autopsy and thorough and happen. And you're going to take 33 and a third. And if they go to litigation, you're going to take 40% of these people's settlement. You're talking about like $125,000 in like a few months of work that you're going to make off of this family. And they're going to have to split the other $200,000 amongst all of them. The two kids, the daddy, and whoever else feel like they're entitled to something. Whoever else wants to take some hush money from the county. You, sir, are going to make too much money to not call me and talk to me so we can work on these words. Because I'll let you live if you make sure they win. That's my word. But if you don't make sure they win, I swear to God, you're going on my list, Ben. Because I said we about to find out if she was set up for injustice. And by hiring a nigga like you, I wonder if she was set up for injustice. Prove me wrong, please. Please, I'm begging you to please prove me wrong that she was not set up for injustice by this family partnering with you. Please prove me wrong that there is a method to this motherfucking madness of you coming out here sounding like alfalfa, a tiba tubate, a peanut butter baby. Come on now, you sound like designer. That's what my baby talked like when she was 10 months old. Come on, Ben. Thorough. And they be close up in you because they know what you gonna fucking do. They know you gonna fuck them. It's because of you. It ain't no captions on this video. So anybody who don't like the music, it's Ben's fault. Because I gotta honor fair use. And if it ain't no captions, it's hardly any way for me to change the footage except to stop and talk over it or to play music. And this nigga took away our opportunity to honor fair use today. And you better not take away this family's opportunity to sue. But no family, if Ben Crump fails you, you can hire other attorneys. You can go to court more than once. This isn't criminal, this is civil. And maybe that's why you're not saying anything about the charges, Ben. What are you representing them, Ben? Let me talk to you for a second. Come down. I know you got a sensitive ego because you put all them years into school and who the fuck am I to disrespect you? I'm that bitch. Let's talk for a second. Ben, is this a civil suit or a criminal? Like, are you representing the family? Because it sounds to me, I'm pretty sure you're representing the family in a civil suit and you're offering them some PR, right? Which you're going to charge them for in the back end. Who is Ben? Let me talk to you because I hear you saying that's not my job. Okay. Who is it that needs to get to John Milheiser to make sure these charges are updated properly? Can you at least say something about it? Or can you hire somebody else? I heard there was a rally. Can this be part of the talk when we talk about justice? Maybe the lady next to you who represents the 1908, where's she from? Hold on, I got your name, baby, because I did a story on you, but I thought it was just a boring story, so I never put it up. I actually did a whole story on the press rally you guys did. It was crazy. I did a story on it, but I thought it was boring, so I didn't put it up because I'm not gonna bore my people. It was just a really boring press conference. But I do have your name, Teresa Haley, with Haley and Associates from Visions 1908. In 1908 is the year of the race riots. The lady over there in the African clothing, who's like super, super black, like don't get into it. So she's like black. Ma'am, is it possible? Because you made a great statement. You said, as a black woman, hell, I'm scared. Mm-hmm. And you talked about wanting justice, but you said, what's up, Lana? You talked about wanting justice, but you said justice is the rest of Sean Gray's life behind bars, and you know that's not realistic. You know that in a case like this, he might get 15 years, if that, maybe 20. I think the murderer of, gosh, I have a hard time remembering your name. His murderer got 22 to 25 years or something like that. But you mentioned these things, and I wonder, Ben, if maybe you could put a next time y'all having Bible study, because I catch body language too. If you could please put a bug in her ear, a battery in her back about this charges thing. Somebody got to talk about the charges. This can't just be about the sheriff, because I mean that's a small cog in the wheel. If this, yes, Sean Grayson should not have been hired by the sheriff. Yeah, we get all that. But at the end of the day, he's still got to get the justice that he deserves. And that would not be a first degree murder charge. That's going to have to come through a manslaughter charge. And y'all know that. And I get it, Ben. This is a civil case for you. You're representing the family in a civil case. So most likely the chunk of money that you get is not going to affect him criminally at all. I get it. But somebody got to say it. Okay? is all I'm asking. And Teresa Haley right there in the African clothes with the beautiful micro locks. If you could, you envisions 1908. Maybe I need to send an email and have a conversation, tag you in something, see if we can get you to talk about that. Because the charges have to be right. And I'm not going to let that go until I'm told to let that go. Because there's more to this than just, racism. We finally got a situation. There was a time, remember with Rodney King and stuff, when these officers were completely just being acquitted and we didn't know why, when it was so obvious on camera what happened. Oh, I prayed about that thing. I prayed about it. And I was like, what is it? Why are these officers continually being acquitted when it's obvious what's happening? Because we're just being run amok. They're setting up the city for riots. And we still don't know what's wrong. It's because of the charges. And in tonight's episode, which is part 2 of Was Sonya Massey Set Up for Injustice, we will talk at the end of the episode. We will talk about the charges and the difference. We'll show a definition of the difference between manslaughter and first-degree murder. And we'll talk about why it's inappropriate for Sean Grayson. Although it's a higher charge and it has a larger sentence, it's not appropriate. How can we expect the justice system to be fair if we won't make him charge and make us? It's not. He wasn't premeditated. We know that. That man didn't go to that house to commit murder. No, he did not. There was not an intent to commit murder. He very well could have had a feeling that he was needing to defend himself. He very well could have had a light switch flip when she said, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." We don't know what that man saw because his arm was covering his camera. But we do know that he was in the line of duty. We do know that it was a misintention. We do know that he did not go into that situation with the intention of ending her life or anyone else's for that matter. We know that. So tonight, we'll talk more about that. Ben Crump, I'm calling out every single word you're saying. I'm just going to make a list of them for the respect of these people's time. Because you're exhausting with this bad English. You and Jesse Lee Peterson make way too much money to talk like that.
Until 24 hours later, that the person who had shot Sonya Massey was a law enforcement official. Why weren't they told that from the very beginning?
He talks really slow.
Ask her who did this.
He talks really slow, so I'm gonna speed it up.
Wrong way. He was on the phone with the hospital officials, and he kept asking. They kept saying somebody shot her.
I got you. We live. So.
Leading up before the killing, and
I had to get him up
talk
to
about
speed.
the results of the autopsy.
Before
we do that, I want to also talk about an update as we continue to probe and find out all the reasons why this tragedy happened, leading up before the killing, and the aftermath of the killing. We talked about how the family wanted a thorough investigation as to why they didn't know until 24 hours later that the person who had shot Sonya Massey was a law enforcement official. Why weren't they told that from the very beginning when they showed up asking who did this? Malachi talked about how he was on the phone with the hospital officials, and he kept asking, they kept saying somebody shot her in her face, and told him in graphic detail at 5 o'clock in the morning what happened to his mother, but never told him who. Shadia and Jimmy went to the house at 6 a.m. that morning when law enforcement was all around. They kept asking the questions, who did this? What happened? Nobody told them that it was the sheriff's deputy, Sean Grayson, who had shot her in the face. They seemed to be led to believe that it was some prowler or something because they started asking questions. Every time they would ask questions, they would be given questions. What was the history between her and the neighbor? And so it was troubling. So we wanted investigation. And I say the family passionately wanted an investigation into that there because they are suspicious of everybody and everything. Wouldn't you be if this happened to your daughter, your mother? And then we talked with the Department of Justice because we want to know more about the history of this sheriff's deputy who so flagrantly and senselessly shot and killed Sonia Massey with no remorse, no humanity after he did it, evidenced by the video. People contacted our office since we've had the press conferences, Teresa, and this is why we continue to try to fight not only in the court of law, but in the court of public opinion, because we know we have to fight to get justice. We don't assume that it's just gonna happen for Black people in America. Even when we got all the evidence in the world, all the visual evidence in the world, we still don't take it for granted. We know the lessons of Laquan McDonald and how the officer got a slap on the wrist, even though that evidence was on video, ocular proof of the crime. And we have been made aware that there were some unsubstantiated allegations of excessive force by this officer allegedly on 2 occasions. One dealing with an African-American who received injuries from allegedly a tasing. But regrettably, before the findings were...
I'm sorry to interrupt you guys, but I think I figured it out. If we listen to Ben Crump at 1.75 times his normal speed, he sounds amazing. Like all of a sudden he's saying words like Sheriff Deputy Sean Grayson, flagrantly, senselessly. What the fuck? I'm gonna talk about what he's talking about too, but I just gotta talk about it. How is that? That when he talks at normal speed, he sounds like a slave. But when he talks at regular speed, he sounds amazing. I mean, 1.7 times his normal speed. Sorry, y'all. I just had to make that observation because, I'm here.
Included, the individual wouldn't cooperate because apparently he was dealing with the criminal charges. And so he apparently didn't trust the system to do right by him. So we know that individual is not considering coming forward. Even though you have to understand, a lot of people, a lot of minorities in America don't come forward for many reasons. They don't call the police for many reasons because things normally don't turn out good for us when we call the police. Obviously, Sonia Massey is exhibit 1, but we're hoping and encouraging him to come forward and tell what happened with his interaction with Deputy Sean Grayson. And then the other individual we know is out there. We don't know what this situation is, but apparently they also complained about excessive, unnecessary force inflicted by the deputy. And the question really goes back to what Sonia's father, Mr. Wilburn, said. With the 2 DUIs, with the reprimand from the Army over serious misconduct, with the 6 different law enforcement agencies in 4 years, with whatever answers he answered in the questionnaires when he was interviewing for the job. When you asked about why did you leave this department, why did you resign from this, were there red flags missed? And should he have been hired in the first place by the sheriff's department?
Right.
Those questions only get louder.
Mm-hmm.
Malachi and Cliff Jones and us, we asked that question, DUI guilty convictions, how do you even have a driver's license? Much less getting a job as a sheriff's deputy. Many questions to be answered. And so we will.
Y'all know the answer to that damn question, right? Y'all know the answer to that damn question, right? If you think you know the answer to that question, put it in the chat or throw it in the comments.
The formal letter to the Department of Justice with those things that we have been made aware of, and they have promised the family that they will work with the local agencies and they will try to get answers to all of these allegations of other instances of excessive force. And before you hear from Uncle Raymond Massey and Shadia Massey, and finally from Malachi Massey, we want to take a few minutes to go over the autopsy report because I think it's important. And I'll tell you when to turn it over. And you all, I want to thank State Attorney John Heiser for making sure he got the autopsy to the family for transparency, and that he's provided it to you all. Even though the family takes great exception with the Sheriff's Department, they have been very grateful that Mr. Heiser's office has tried to be very transparent and very respectful to them as victims. And so he made sure that this autopsy report was released, and it should give you a lot of the things, answer a lot of the questions that you all asked previously. The biggest thing on the autopsy are the findings, and we will go through those to conclusion, is based on the information available to me and on the autopsy findings. It is my opinion that Sonia Massey, a 36-year-old Black woman, died as a result of a gunshot wound to the head. And then it goes on to in more detail, and it says the gunshot wound of the head, the entrance was beneath the left eye. The injury, proliferation of the left internal
Ben,
subra.
get it together, Ben. This is your moment.
I'm looking at this word because I know.
Oh, fuck, Ben. Come on, man.
So it's not subdural artery, but it's
Ben. Ben, fuck this whole moment up. God damn it. Oh, Ben, how long have you had this document sitting here? You are on point, on fire. Maybe I should have played that at 1.5 speed. Oh, Ben, do you realize they can't use this? God damn it, Ben. You gotta remember that you are on television, Ben. This is the life you chose. You have to do what it takes to tighten up. You are representing an entire. Look at the family. Oh my God. Look at her son. Look at her niece. They are so sick of your shit. Oh my God. This family is tired of your goddamn incompetent ass. I'm not in my head. When you talking about, even though you have a list and that can be cured, you're talking about his background and the fact that he should have never been hired, and you're going over some very important points. But the title of the video is Attorney Discusses Sonia Massey Autopsy Report. Autopsy Report. There wasn't any time you could have took this morning or taken. Now I gotta talk right because I'm talking to you about not talking right. So now I gotta step it up, and I can't talk to you like I would talk to you. But inside of a classroom setting, I'm gonna talk to you like this. And anybody who knows me would know it, because you can't. You couldn't have taken some time this morning to review those words and their pronunciations. You have had that piece of paper. I can tell by the way it's worn. Hey, what's up, Real Magnolia? Thank you for coming in with that water energy. This nigga pisses me off because he make about $700,000-$800,000 a year, and it don't cost nothing to hire a speech therapist. It don't cost nothing to hire somebody to work with you on your pronunciation. And it's so much a part of what you do and how we are represented. It makes no sense to me that now we got to go back and watch you play these words, read these words. And I'm going to see, for the fucking sake of it, because y'all know when we go live, we might even be here for a little bit. So yeah, we here longer than I thought, but we going to be here. I'm going to go back and speed it up and see if some way magically, when I play it, because I still don't know what happened to her, there was an entrance beneath the left eye, a gunshot wound to the head, and then the injury was a proliferation of the left, and then you went left. and completely forgot how to say words. Here's what I'm gonna do, Ben. I'm gonna play it in 1.5 speed because I like to keep things a little fun too. That's why my parents in China did not like me, because their kids had fun in my class. I don't know why that's a bad thing, because they could speak great English and they liked themselves when they left my class. Yeah, I let them get away with shit. They're kids. But anyway, I let mine get away with shit too. She's a kid. But anyway, and they like me more than they like you. Now what? They remember my name more than they remember yours. Listen, my class rules are more powerful in your house. Anyway, that's enough of me patting myself on the back. Because I really do think I can help you, Ben. And I really think it would be a good idea for you to reach out. Support at AsheUnlimited.com. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little game. Because I used to love when I was getting my college students ready for their IELTS exam, I would love for them to record themselves and then play it back and listen to it in different speeds so that they could hear what they were saying in ways different other cultures might hear it. Who talk faster, slower, so to speak, whatever. So anyway, let's do this, Ben. I want to see if when we play this back, somehow magically you say the words that are on that paper. Can I do that, y'all? I'm only asking for permission because I'm being polite. I'm going to play it back anyway. I could see when he got stuck. He was confident up until they zoomed in. See, whoever did this, is it CBS 7? Y'all shady. Why did you zoom in on him when he started fucking them words up, knowing that you can't even use that sound bite? Because the moment you use that sound bite, he gonna reach out and be like, come on, y'all know y'all shouldn't have did me like that.
Available to me and on the autopsy findings, it is my opinion that Sonia Massey, a 36-year-old Black woman, died as a result of a gunshot wound to the head. And then it goes on in more detail. And it says the gunshot wound of the head. The entrance was beneath the left eye. The injury, proliferation of the left internal carotid.
Damn it!
I'm looking at this word because I know.
Come on, Ben.
So it's not a subdural artery, but it's an artery that is the blood vessel right beneath her eye. The exit.
Look at the family.
Left circle
Look at the family.
of the upper neck. Associated injuries: skull fracture, subdural hemorrhaging.
Woo.
Direction: front to back, downward and slightly right to left. Range: no soot or gunpowder stippling on the skin. You turn it over, and I will tell you they have an anatomical model.
Oh my gosh!
Very important. Here.
We'll listen to that part again, y'all.
You have Sonia Massey with a beautiful smile. But you have
He did what he said he would do, didn't he?
right beneath the left eye. And then they talk about how the exit.
Now, let me ask a question, because we have questions. Sean, because this is a question that's going to be asked by the prosecutor, so you might want to get ready for it. Why didn't you shoot her hand? Why didn't you shoot her hand? You could have done that. You could have shot her hand. You could have shot her leg, because you're taller than her. So even there was a counter between you, even though there was a counter, you were tall enough to have enough range, and you came around to get an even better shot. You could have shot her in the stomach. You could have shot her in the knees. You could have shot her in the ankle. You could have shot her hand where you thought holding a pot, but you would have still shot her in the face because her hands were covering her head. Why didn't you shoot the pot? She literally had the pot in running water. And anybody who knows how the kitchen works, including you, Sean, knows that when you have a pot in running water after you take it off of a stove, most likely that water is cold, thereby cooling down that pot. So why would you think she's looking to throw hot water on you if she turned on water and put the pot in the path of the water? Why wouldn't your mind think? No, your trigger was probably, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Because that spell works. It's a spell that works. Many people who astrally project encounter many different spirits when they do it. And they have learned that when they astrally project, if they encounter a malevolent spirit, all they have to do is plead the blood of Jesus, and that spirit will dissipate. Girl, I would try to find the statement myself. If anybody can help me find the statement, ourselves, because I think it was subdural, but he said it wasn't. I'm going to try to find the statement myself. And she had that white gown on. I mean, see, there's certain things that you got to know, Sean Grayson. That might have been a setup. You walk into a room and a woman looks like a ghost, and you and your partner are the only ones in the rooms with a weapon. You were set up and you took the bait. I'm reading the comments here. I'm sorry if I'm not putting them on the screen. My apologies.
Posterior left surface of the upper neck, below the ear, below her hairline. Now, why this is so significant is it confirms that Deputy Sean Grayson shot in a downward trajectory.
Like I said.
Shot in a downward trajectory. This autopsy findings coupled with the video where we see her ducking, saying, "Sorry, sir, sorry." He shot when she's making a motion coming up. That's how you get the downward trajectory. And you see on the video, his arm, he aims down.
Yep.
He literally aims down. You see his
like an execution.
Downward trajectory. And we know that.
What's up, BB?
2 to 3 steps to his right.
I love you, Burgundy.
Out away from the counter, where it was, we believe, from objective observation.
And let me say this, since you are here, Burgundy, I think I texted this to you. I don't remember. But I wanted to thank you and Gardis Watts, because when I was in your chat, when I was in your live, when you were showing the 2 suit jackets, those badass suit jackets, badass suit jacket. I would wear one of them bitches and have you tailor it for my waist, because I got a small waist and a fat ass, and I would definitely have that, both of them. Reality Check TV, you better get them before I do. You better hope I don't get a little extra money there, because and them prices was right too. You better tell Mrs. Reality she better go ahead and get that money over the birthday, because you couldn't listen. The white one and the black one, I like them both. Those were bad. You are bad. Man. Anyway, thank you for mentioning this Sonia Massey situation. I didn't know about this until I heard it on your channel. So thank you so much. Namaste. I see the God in you. I appreciate you for mentioning this situation. Absolutely. Because whenever something like this happens, I tend to have the kind of skill set where I can dig in deep and do it the way it needs to be done. And I appreciate you for uncovering my next assignment. I had actually been told that day by Frank Zuccarelli that I had a new assignment coming. And I was like, okay, let's go. What is it? How much does it pay? Because I learned in China, you never take a job without knowing what that compensation gonna look like. What's my remuneration, bitch? So this is a good story, not something we want to have to do. But definitely, I mean, as we know this time of year now, we've already looked at the pattern, and we'll talk about that a little bit more tonight too. The pattern, July and August, every year we can expect one. So now those of us who pray need to know how to pray moving forward. If we know what the pattern is, then we can head it off. Absolutely. We have a great community on YouTube. That's why we're so hell-bent on getting the imposters out, because we have built in the Black, I'm going to say Black content creators, whether it's beauty, whether it is gossip, whether it's reality shows, whether it's sports, whether it's the man-loving female haters, whether it is, or they call it the manosphere, I think, whether it is the Crime Stoppers, all of us, we have a peaceful community. There is nobody beefing. The Hotep's always beefing, but that's a part of their culture, and we let them do that quietly. We don't even pay them any attention. Because Hotep's be Hoteping, baby. Oh, this was absolutely something on the spiritual level. I'm starting to wonder, though, if it was also political because, you know, politics is very spiritual. Look at our money. Look at the things around us. Our politics are run by very spiritual-minded people. And until we catch up, we're going to always be catching up. They understand the things of the spirit as well. And so it's not by accident that even Emmett Till was killed in July 1955. Eric Garner killed in July, I think July 5th. We had Mike Brown killed in July. Sandra Bland killed in July or August. July and August. We have so many murders that happened to our community at the hands of police in particular. And at the time that Emmett Till was killed, a white man on the street was just as good as the police. 1955, they all thought they was the police. And mind you, this was a sheriff's deputy. And I think it was Tariq Nasheed who told us a long time ago they were deputizing white folks. And this was just a regular average white guy with a bad temperament. Yep, it always happens around an election cycle. We will uncover all of these things. And I might need to start talking about this over at the Demon Whisperer channel so that I feel free. I would actually recommend, and I would ask you, if you are into the spiritual things when it comes to this sort of stuff, that might be why I had to